knows the current FBO, but he wants guarantees and upgrade and expansion. He also wants to prevent competition there.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Sorry, I'm Heidi Franco. I've also tried to fight the battle on the landing fees, but you just have to realize that I was a lone voice crying in the wilderness. So it really hasn't gone anywhere for the 2 years or so that I've been on the airport board. It's been very, very frustrating to me to see the lack of information and the way we've kicked Daniel over and over and over again with the airport. I want the airport to be a good neighbor if we have to keep it, but we've never had financial analysis done. We've never had the numbers, I'm sorry, to really have a clear picture of the airport. I have asked the city council and the mayor now for several months and the city manager to at least let the current FBO fulfill his current lease agreement, where he is supposed to give us an income statement every single year. And to my knowledge, the city council has only got it once out of the last 16 years. Now, to me, that's really pitiful and it's shameful, but I think it shows you the amount of ignorance and perhaps caring that the city councils in the past have shown towards the airport issues, or trying to keep it at a B2 level. The whole push of the whole valley has been growth, growth, growth for decades. We all know that. And the airport went right along with it, growth, 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 more, 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 and yet the accountability to the citizens has not been there. Very frustrating to me. The FBO has probably the lowest lease rate in the whole country, and if it's lower, I want to be proving it, because he pays 2 cents a square foot, okay? Yuck. Okay, I'm going to speculate here, I really have no idea, because I can't get an income statement, but I'm assuming he's made his millions off of that airport, and we're getting a paltry $6,000 from him this year in lease rates. Okay, so I do get a little frustrated about this, because the only benefit right now that I see on the airport, besides the jobs that are generated there, which we haven't measured, okay, is the property taxes that comes to the general fund. And I would like to protect that investment in property taxes for you, as well as for us and the school district.
Well, the only property tax we get is off the planes that are here on the January.
They're on the
The hangars, the hangar value.
Yeah, they gotta be housed here.
Right, right.
So a lot of these checks, we don't get a dime off of.
Right, and so to me, I look back, because I've lived here long enough to know the story and the debate, and I think when this whole kerfuffle broke out in 2003, that we were under the 500 operation level then. And so it wasn't a big deal for the city council to just back off and let it go. But now that we're over consistently, this is why we're getting the FAA pressure. And there's just such an entrenched, vested interest there at the airport among the board, as well as the bureaucracy that's associated with it, along with the FAA. So our city bureaucracy, as well as the FAA bureaucracy, as well as past airport boards and many current members of the airport board, have just assumed that it would come, the expansion would come, and there was no way to really stop it, and that they could just go ahead and do it, and that the people wouldn't care, or it would be too late for the people to care. We are really close to that point. We have got to work extremely fast to find answers that have never been asked before. And that's why I appreciate Ron's work on this, and Kelleen's work on this, and Dave's work on this, because we feel like we're finally starting to ask the questions that should have been asked a decade ago, and we're not. We're trying to get information that should have been found out all along and was not told to any of us. And I think there's still a chance for us to really do something here according to what we want, okay? And I have been pushing, Mark, and he knows this, I've been pushing for a couple of years now. We need noise testing and we need pollution testing at the airport. We need to be a good neighbor, and we need to provide mitigation to the neighbors, the noise and the pollution mitigation. But no one's ever cared to track it. No one's ever cared to test about it. It's time to do that. And we're pushing for it now with this new consultant that we're looking to approve. And we probably will use FAA money as best as we can to get the economic analysis and the air and the noise and the air pollution testing. And then that's going to give us a baseline and be able to then come back to all of you people and say, okay, this is the best knowledge that we have. All right, here's choice A, here's choice B. You're darned if you do and you're darned if you don't. So which do you want, right? I hate to take land from Daniel. I hate it. The federal government's done that with the dam. They've done it with the Provo River. And I didn't want to do it again with the airport, all right? But like I say, I've been the lone voice, all right? Now I've got a few more voices here, especially on the airport board. And I really appreciate you calling us in to where we could talk about this and get a lot of input and try to clear up, you know, what has been, I think, hidden in the past as far as the push towards expansion. And now we can say, okay, this is where we are at. This is what we're trying to do. And we all need to talk about it. It's affecting all of us. You know, you laughed at where Ron said, I can hear it. I'm up on the hill. And I can hear them land and take off just about as plain as if I was there. Maybe not quite as loud, but it echoes out that far. It's echoing all across our valley. And it's really affecting Charleston and Daniel from the complaints that I've heard for the last several years. It's not fair. It's not fair for them to bear the burden, you know, of all of these negative externalities on them, and yet just a very few people, especially the FBO, is making so much money off of the airport when it's supposed to be a taxpayer-owned city airport that the city needs to get a benefit off of, and not just someone that has a very sweet deal from past city councils for the last 16 years. Okay. You should have clapped for Ron, too.
Ron, Dave is the hardest time we are. We would not sit down, Ron. Sit down. Sit down.
No, you're done, Ron.
Everything I've dug up has been pointed to me by 4 or 5 citizens in our community. I hate to start naming names, but I think every one of them's here. And there's 4 or 5 that even before I was elected, I pledged to learn the facts of what if we don't, and to go against expansion. That's where I am. If it costs us, you need to know it, and then tell us if you still want it. I've been hammered in Facebook and everything else, I don't care. But there's 5, at least, people in this room. It's not me. I dug them up, I pulled them on a few sheets, 25, but it's hundreds of pages, and there's people here that have read them all. I read half of them, maybe.
And I haven't even read a tenth of it, as much as I've tried to dive into it. I haven't probably read 1% of it. Right? There's just that much information to go through.
You have an economic profile to know whether you make it worth even happening.
Totally. I totally agree. Now, please understand, I can look at several people here in the audience that would give you a totally different factual idea, different than my opinion. Okay? A lot of this is probably my opinion, but that's the battle I feel like I've been fighting for the last couple of years on the airport board. That's the perspective I'm coming from, and I'm not going to stop, all right? Because if it's a public airport, it needs to benefit the public and not just benefit the few at the public's expense, especially with the noise and the air pollution. So, thank you.
Thanks, Heidi. Sonny, did you want to?
I think you've covered it.
Okay. All right, what we're going to do at this point is give the public, we appreciate you being here. I hope it's been beneficial to you. It's been very beneficial, I think, to we as a council. We'd like to give those that would like to some time to comment. Because of the time, we don't want to be here all night. So we thought maybe a 3-minute time limit. You need to come forward and state your name for the record. And so you got
I'm going to get this party started because we've been listening for an hour and a half, so I'm going to be very brief.
And by the way, will you guys drive off your camera?
I'm getting some killer guns standing back there, let me tell you what. Tracy Taylor, Heber City resident, and I'm the chair of the Wasatch Taxpayers Association. And there's just some information I want the public here to know, that if you go to our website, WasatchTaxpayersAssociation.com. Just go to that main page and it'll take you to the airport. We're gathering information there that you haven't even heard about tonight, if you can imagine that. So there's going to be more coming there. So please, you know, join us, give us your email, we'll send out email alerts to you. But that website is totally free for your consumption. So all these videos that are being taken, you can send those to your friends who couldn't be here tonight, okay? One thing I want to say, just as a citizen, is that there's a couple things that haven't been brought up yet, which I think I've been hearing either on Facebook or in the public, is the citizens are a little concerned, and these are Heber City citizens, because obviously this is a Heber City vote or an issue per se. So there are some Heber City residents that are very concerned about 5 members of a city council voting on something that affects 25,000 of us. So there is an option to do some things prior to the $300,000 that has to be spent on that business plan that they want to spend. I think I've been hearing from the public saying, put this out to a vote. Put it on a ballot initiative, let the Heber City residents vote on whether they want their money spent on even investigating an expansion. Because I think that should be a first step. Because there are 3 city council members that ran this year that said they are against an expansion, and they got up in a campaign, Meet the Candidates Night, and said they're against it. They should vote to put it on a ballot and have the citizens decide. So please go to the WasatchTaxpayersAssociation.com. There's going to be much more information on this. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tracy. Yes, sir. Well, we just light up there, and then when Mr. Jensen's done, you just slip up.
Just a couple of brief comments. Dennis Jensen is my name. I got on the website for the Heber Airport, and in one spot, this is what I read. Transient traffic ranges from light pistons to heavy turbines up to Gulfstream 5 and Global Express. So I got on the internet to see what these were classed as. The Gulfstream 5 is a D2. D. Not a B or C, but a D. And the Global Express is a C3. So we're advertising on the airport website, and I guess it's probably the FBO who maintains that. Is that right, Mark?
I assume you're on OK3 side.
Maybe the city needs to have a little more oversight in what's advertised and what goes into that. I wondered, Ron pointed out a lot of the responsibilities the city has for maintaining quality of the airport landings and the airplanes that land there. Does Heber City have somebody at the airport who does this?
Well, we have a part-time airport manager.
Is he not there all the time then?
No.
Okay.
Overseeing the planes, Dennis. It's the FBO that's supposed to keep a log of who comes in and who goes out.
Maybe that's part of the problem with these. I really firmly believe the FBO was pushing for expansion of this airport. And so, of course, these
Yep. We all concur.
Stay with us, please, you guys. This is being recorded, Rick's trying to keep minutes, so just stay with us here.
Okay, I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis.
You're doing it.
Didn't mean to stop what you were doing, Dennis.
No problem. I'm done.
Well said.
My name is Richard Clark. 22 months ago, I went into Mark's office, and I have some ideas about making the Heber Airport a better facility for everybody, including the airport, pilots, community, and everybody. And we've been working on that for 22 months, and I've worked with members of your own council, a lot of your officials in Wasatch County, plus Charleston, plus Midway, plus Daniel, plus Independence. I tried to get to everybody, and I've done that in multiple meetings over these 22 months, and we've developed quite a large series of plans. Ironically, tonight was the night I was invited to come to the airport board to brief them on the stuff, and they got all my materials. So I don't have the stuff to show to all of you. It's all digitized, it all shows on the screen, it all looks really, really great. But timing has turned out to be an unfortunate thing. But what we're looking at here is an attempt to put a size 10 foot into a size 9 shoe. That's what we're trying to do. 68 years ago, when Russ McDonald decided he wanted to put a little dirt strip out there along 189, it was a whole different world than what we have now. In fact, the airplanes that went in there were small and insignificant. It didn't matter much. In 1958, you may remember, Boeing came out with a 707, and the whole world of aviation, whole world changed overnight. Every piston engine transport aircraft became obsolete in an instant, and the world turned to big jets. 8 years later, Learjet came out with the Learjet Model 23. And then every citizen in the United States, every resident, every person in the world could have a private airplane. It was jet power. And that changed everything again. So we've had two huge leaps in a short period of time, a long time ago. 68 years later, this facility no longer works in the way it was intended to work when it was begun. And all the attempts to upgrade it have not been adequate. We have to realize in nature everything changes, in human activity everything changes every instant. It never stays the same. And eventually things die. And when things die, you have to replace them. And the here and now is the time to look at a different airport. Heber shouldn't be bearing the cost and the burdens and expenses of running an airport which serves not only Heber City, it serves Wasatch County more than Heber City. Park City, Summit County, Midway, everybody benefits from this airport. In 2003, the state of Utah did a study on the economics of airports in the state. And they reported that economic output of general aviation airports, which is one of these, was $274 million a year. That's the last time the state of Utah has looked at it. Other organizations, national organizations have looked at it, and they put out another study in 2015 based on 2013 data. And it said in the state of Utah, general aviation airports contribute $2.2 billion to the economy of the state. You don't think you're getting a hunk of that? I guarantee you are. You don't know it because you don't know how to see it. It's not visible. But aviation generates an enormous amount of money and profits for everybody in every community it works in. Except here it doesn't seem to be working because all we hear is Heber can't make money on the airport. And the airport's just not adequate for it anymore. It doesn't serve the people, and it's not being run properly because the FAA has a solution. They call them airport authorities. They say have a regional airport, it'll be managed by an airport authority, and on that airport authority will be a representative of every community that benefits from this airport, and everybody benefits, but they also pay their share of the cost of running it. And we should have a regional airport here. It should be composed of memberships of Heber City, Wasatch County, Summit County, Park City, Midway at least, and maybe the smaller jurisdictions should have a vote on this as well. But they should be running this thing and paying for it. This 5% that the local governments pay should be distributed among everybody who benefits. They all enjoy it, they ought to be paying for it, not Heber City. Heber's been burdened with something that should be stopped. Time's up, I thank you. But I'd like the opportunity, Mr. Kohler, Mr. Peters,
Mr. Clark, I'm sorry, I missed it. Where did you say you live?
I live in Wasatch, I live up in your mountain.
May I ask what I mean, you're obviously an airport enthusiast. Are you a pilot?
I am.
You use the airport a lot?
I do not even have an airplane right now.
Do we justify a regional airport when we got Provo 22 minutes away, or Salt Lake 45 minutes away?
Absolutely. Look at the use. Why is the usage going up in here? Because this area is a magnet for business opportunities. I heard Ron Stark, your own economics guy, he was giving a presentation to City Council the other day that Heber City is the third fastest micropolitan growth in the country. Wasatch County is the 8th largest county in growth. Where are these people coming from? And why are they coming here? Well, they're not coming here to be farmers, I know that. But they're coming here for something else. And so we need to look to the future. We can't drive a car looking in the rearview mirror. You can only back up. We've got to quit backing up and look forward and see where we're going. Now, there was a big map published in July in a park record showing the regional growth for our area. It was stunning to me because all of the growth they depict is Wasatch County growth, not Summit County growth, not Park City, it's Wasatch County. But they're worried because they know all these people that come to them. We want to keep those people here and let them run around business, stay in our hotels and eat in our restaurants. We got to make it attractive to them. And I'm not hearing anybody saying we give a hoot about any of this, but we ought to be, because that's the future of this county. We're going to be the big dog around here, whether everybody likes it or not. And I wish I had my training age to show you, because talking about it's one thing, showing's a whole different ballgame. And I would really like to have the opportunity to meet with you all at another date as soon as possible and show you all this. And then we can take it to the public. And I think the public, and Tracy's right, the public needs to know this. And I want to get with her sometime and show it to her, and I want to put it on their website. I want to show everybody what we can have, but we ought to have another airport in a little location in Wasatch County, and let our airport regional authority manage it for the benefit of all.
You can at least say where you want that airport to be, though,
Yes.
Richard. I mean, yeah.
I know, that's it. But you need to look at some of the facts about it. I've been looking at it and talking to a lot of people about this. And that's why.
Let's hold this together. I had a quick.
I was just going to make a point that he's proposing it to be right in the middle of the North Hills.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been making a secret of that. That's the best place to have it. And it's the best place for Wasatch County to have it, which interferes the least with noise, pollution, and interference with the citizenry and benefits the most.
All right, thank you. Sir, you're next.
My name's Lowry Balkan. I live in Midway. And I have...
Hold it down, please.
I came here in 1986. I beg your pardon.
Will you spell your name for
LaurisibuLkin. I came here in 86. Sorry, I'm not a native. I've lived here 20 of the last 30 years. First of all, I depend on the tourist industry for my living. I'm a ski patrolman in the wintertime, and I drive trucks for a company that builds these houses in the summer. So, no, you're wrong. I'm not on that side. Something the gent just spoke of, which I hadn't even dreamed of, is no, the average American can't own their own plane. The average Wasatch County person does not benefit, because if I want to fly anywhere, I have to drive to Salt Lake or potentially Provo. I can't fly out of Salt Lake unless I'm dead in a box and I'm being sent somewhere for laboratory purposes. But that's not why I want to stand up. When I came here, we had our inversions in the wintertime, and you stepped outside and sucked up a lungful of water vapor and a little bit of sheep and cow